Chapter 20. Andrew headed home, determined to spend the night combing through old newspaper archives. He needed information, context about Shira, about her father's death, about who she really was. He needed to understand her erratic behavior, her refusal to cooperate, and her mysterious web of connections in the city, especially this Daniel, the nightclub owner. Andrew had a strong feeling Daniel's club wasn't his only business. But halfway home, he found himself changing course. Without really thinking, he turned the wheel and headed toward the nightclub. He couldn't explain why. Rationally, he knew this was a terrible idea. Daniel wouldn't tell him anything. Hell, he doubted he could even get past the two mountainous bodyguards guarding the door. But something pulled at him, drew him in. Moments after making the decision, he realized with a grimace that he didn't remember exactly where it was. He hadn't paid much attention when he'd been there before. He remembered it was somewhere in the northern part of the city, in the Burden district. That narrowed it down, but not by much. He pulled over and tried searching the club on Google Maps. Nothing. No hits on his navigation app either. Frustrated, he turned to the web, but again the search came up empty. The Vampire's Bar didn't exist. Not officially. Giving up on technology, he drove aimlessly, relying on fragments of memory. Familiar turns. The way the city looked under the orange glow of streetlights. After a few missed roads and a couple of wrong neighborhoods, the ruined buildings he had seen earlier came into view. He was close. 40 minutes later, he finally found the right street. The club stood out immediately, the only building with an illuminated red sign above the door. It glowed like a wound in the night. Andrew parked a few buildings away and sat there for a moment, engine off, hands still on the wheel. Was this really a good idea? Even if he got inside, what did he expect to find? Have you ever been told you have vampires' teeth? Matthew's words from lunch came rushing back. Everything had spiraled since then. All because of her. Vampire teeth. You're losing it, man, he muttered, shaking his head. Still, he got out of the car. He needed answers, and he sure as hell wasn't going to find them sitting behind the wheel. As he walked toward the club, the memory of the two bodyguards flashed across his mind. He shivered. The way they had looked at him last time, cold, measuring, predatory. He reached the large wooden door and gripped the handle. It didn't move. Locked. He looked around. No sign of hours. No notice. He tried again, harder this time. The door creaked open just enough for him to slip through. Odd, Shira hadn't seemed to struggle with it. Inside, the two bodyguards were still there, looming on either side of the entry to the main room. Bracing himself for a rough rejection, Andrew walked straight toward them, trying to radiate confidence. They didn't stop him. In fact, they opened the doors for him. Surprised but keeping his face neutral, he stepped into the main hall. The atmosphere was the same as before. Low lights, pulsing music, strange patrons watching a nearly nude dancer on stage with too much enthusiasm. As he walked past the tables, Michelle appeared before him, just as provocatively dressed as the last time. "We were waiting for you. What took you so long?" she purred, throwing her arms around his neck. Andrew pried her off gently but firmly. "I want to talk to your boss." "Daniel?" she asked, feigning surprise. "Daniel?" Her smile faltered just for a second. Then she recovered, beaming again, flashing a set of sharp teeth. Andrew flinched. "Well, of course, why else would you be here? Come on, I'll take you to him. He's in his room." She continued as they left the main hall behind. Funny thing is, Daniel hates these parties. Kind of ironic, considering he owns the club. He hardly ever shows his face around here. And after midnight? Forget it. He's long gone by then. Is he sleeping? Number. He doesn't sleep much. He prefers private gatherings. Honestly, I like those better. She winked. Though since Shira left, they've been a little duller. We're trying to keep up. They reached a narrow staircase behind the stage. As they climbed, the air grew heavier. "Shira, she worked here?" Andrew asked. Michelle paused on the landing, hand against the wall, gazing at him. Worked? She was the soul of this place. And of Daniel. Nothing's been the same since she left. They stopped at a small wooden door at the end of a dark hallway. Michelle motioned for him to enter. Andrew opened it slowly. The room was dimly lit and appeared empty. He turned to Michelle, confused. "We are waiting for you," a voice said behind him. He spun around. Daniel sat in a chair near the window, hidden in shadow. "It seems everyone's been waiting for me," Andrew replied, stepping farther in. Then he saw her. Another figure standing behind Daniel turned toward the window. Still, familiar. Shera. He froze. "I was expecting you both," Daniel said, flashing a smile. His teeth, white, long, inhuman, gleamed even in the low light. Shera turned and moved to Daniel's side, sitting at his feet like a queen beside her throne. Her expression mirrored his, a grin too wide, too sharp. A chill ran through Andrew. "You were right, dear. He came like a puppy," she said. "But much tastier," she added. Her voice sliced through him. It sounded wrong. Metallic. It made his skin crawl. He wanted to run, to speak, to shout, but his body wouldn't obey. Shera stood, moving toward him. Her black combat gear was gone. She now wore a flowing black dress, sheer in places, drifting as she moved. Her eyes locked onto his. He was terrified. Her beauty was staggering, surreal, her skin pale as ivory, her hair a cascade of ink. She touched his chest and gently pushed him. He fell into a chair he hadn't noticed was behind him. She moved behind him, placed her hands on his neck and tilted his head back. Fingernails grazed his skin. Sharp. A pinprick of blood bloomed. From the corner of his eye, he saw Daniel lean forward, watching eagerly. "Delicious," Shera whispered in his ear. The sound was soft, but it hit him like a bell tolling inside his skull. "Bite him," Daniel urged, voice thick with hunger. Andrew's heart thundered. He could feel it. She could feel it. The fear, the helplessness. She delighted in it. Cold breath touched his skin, lips. Then he screamed. He bolted upright in bed, drenched in sweat, breathing hard. "Nightmares?" a voice asked calmly. His head spun, his heart pounded. He sat on the edge of his bed, trying to ground himself. He was home, in his room. And she was there. Shera. She was seated in the chair by the window, twirling his gun casually in her hand. "I'll let you get dressed," she said, rising smoothly. "I'll wait for you in the kitchen. Coffee might help." She placed the gun back on the nightstand and left. Andrew stared at the door for a long moment. Was it all just a dream? His fingers moved to his neck instinctively. No wound. "You're losing your mind," he muttered, and pushed himself up. The only thing that made sense now was a long, cold shower.